We should use that as an intro. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of Don't Cross the Streams. I'm Will, and as always, I'm here with my partner, Jay. And we're super excited. Again, as always, getting the band back together type thing, you know? We got Justin joining back in from Orono Brewing Company, Jimmy Graham, author, and, of course, Queen City Cinema Club co-owner, Josh, with us. So, guys, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. It's pretty much just become like a show where we just invite our friends on to shoot the shit.
That's
who
you feel the most comfortable with, so it's like, might as well just talk.
Yeah, right.
I was at one point, I was like doing like scripts up for these to kind of have some sort of backing. And then it's just like, well, at this point, we're kind of just talking with all of our friends, so it's not super needed at this point. Like, just hang out, have a good time.
There it is.
A script for you to go. So, Justin, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, right. Justin, you guys have already been having your interviews today, so you're like well versed as far as what to talk about.
I have no idea who Josh is or what Queen City Cinema Club is at all.
Right.
Nor I for Orono Brewing Company. Nor would I ever sell their beer in my establishment.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I feel like it's become, especially right now, it's almost like the Bangor Mall in the sense that back in the day it was like we were all just trading money with each other. Like everybody that worked there, it was just going to each other's stores and just here's yours. All right, I'll be at my store when you want to come in and buy something.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Like downtown Bangor, that's what kept us alive, you know, for the first 2 years was everybody in the restaurants, everybody in the bars. We're all friends. We all know each other, and it's just like all love, a lot of support, and it's awesome, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's how you know that it's worth going to is when, like, myself or, like, any of the people that work downtown Bangor go to your place and honestly, not that your prices are outrageous, but spend more money on beer than we would at our own places because a lot of times we get our own deals or we get, like, deal on food or something like that. So, like, why would we go somewhere else and drink our own beer when I can just get that at my own spot? But there's a reason because it's something else to draw me in there, not just the beer or the food.
Yeah.
Speaking of beer.
No, Queen City Cinema is awesome, and it's definitely a niche place for downtown Bangor. It's something that we've kind of needed for a long time. I think the only thing that would really spice up that area, in my opinion, anymore would be, and I've said it many times, I feel like somebody's working on it, but somewhere to get slices of pizza late night, like after the bar is closed. Like when you just need that slice of greasy pizza before you go home.
Just like pizza by the slice?
Yeah.
Okay. Like Autos. I always refer to Autos down in Portland. Like they got it set up, man. Like that was always you go down for a comedy show, concert, whatever. Once it's done, go to Autos, grab a slice of pizza.
Or Old Port Pizza, like this Old Port Slice Bar is the same thing. Yeah. Portland Pie Company does that, but I feel like they're not open late enough. So it's like, I mean, Pete, who helped do construction with Josh's place over at Queen City, him and I had this discussion. There was a place over on across from Black Bear and the Bangor Arts Exchange that we thought would be a sweet place to put a slice bar in because of a late show or people leaving the bar or like the idea that you could walk across the street, maybe get a slice and then bring it back to a place like Black Bear or OBC and eat it late night with a beer. All you need is a place that makes pizza and has like 3 stools, but really basically you eat the pizza on the go. Like you walk towards your Uber, you're waiting for your Uber to come pick you up, or you go to your car and you're eating that slice of pizza after a late night.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody needs to buy like a hot dog cart and just do like that, you know, just
you'd clean up after a concert, like over waterfront concerts, just walking around, you'd clean up. All the drunk people walking out there wanting a late night hot dog.
Right.
It's funny because me and Boss's first foray into coming up with a business plan together to open a place was a slice bar. We basically just wanted like a 400 square foot spot where we just cook pizzas and just, Bill's Pizza down in Portland is another place like that. 2 a.m. That's the busiest place in town. And I actually thought about doing a hot dog cart myself too, actually. But
I mean,
I ended up with this mess.
Hey, we're all laughing, but I mean, like, that's something that, could, I mean, I don't know the regulations for it or whatever. I'm sure there's a bunch of BS you got to go through, but you'd think that you could clean up during the summer months around here.
What's going to happen is people go, it's $1 for a hot dog in New York City. Why are you charging $3 for a hot dog? That's what's going to happen.
Right.
You make food carts stay stationary. But, I mean, I do have some news, which is we are actually in the middle of a renovation and expansion, and we're going to be up in our kitchen game quite a bit. Pizza's on the menu. And anybody that knows us knows that we're open until at least midnight, sometimes 1. And we serve food right up until we close. So I have a feeling, late night slice dreams might come true.
Cool. And I think that's what kind of it's like would make it, but kills it for people when they're thinking about doing it. Because you would need to be serving this pizza at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Like, I think if somebody was ready, like yourself, Josh, I mean, even if boss was running during the day, but you knew that last 5 hours, you were going to go in, you were going to make a bunch of pizzas. People were going to come in and whatever you got, you make a couple pizzas, once it's gone, that's it for the night. Like how Cosmopolitan can do it.
Yep.
And then that's it. I mean, I definitely think somebody could rake up on that, whether it's hot dogs, whether it's pizza. I feel like the person that's capitalizing on right now is the Noodle Bar. Because they're really that only option down there right now to do that. But I'm personally not looking for noodles that time of night. I'm looking for a slice of pizza.
You're not stumbling along downtown wasted, I need some noodles right now.
Noodles right now.
And it's probably a place you can get a drink at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, right. Among other things, I'm sure.
It was sad that we just mentioned 3 places in Portland that you could get pizza at midnight. We just mentioned 3 different places, and there's not a place in Bangor. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. That's not even the only ones. I guarantee you there's more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How much for the one in the corner?
Which corner,
Which one's
Shane?
in the corner?
You got 4 corners, bud.
Not me. I know that it's not me. So
Jay's officially out.
I'm right in smack dab in the middle. I'm right where I want to be with all of you guys.
Jay's the queen of the Oreo.
What is that supposed to mean, Jay?
I don't think any of us are taking less than $6.
No.
We at least gotta, we're talking pizza, so it's at least got to cover a pizza, Shane.
Is it a new feature you're adding to this thing, a little bidding war like eBay, or indict on the town for
let's see what else we get.
Highest bid takes you out to dinner and beers and a movie at Queen City. Is that what it is?
There you go.
And a hot dog cart when it opens up.
Right.
It sounded like you were starting a joke there for a minute. I want to switch gears real quick and just jump in because Jimmy, you have limited time tonight, right?
Ish,
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure since it's already.
Well, I'll just close my computer and.
That's fine. Just give us that.
You just see the computer slide close. There goes Jimmy. See ya.
I think it'd be better if you just ducked slowly out.
Yeah, just
he's going down the stairs type thing.
I'll just put one of my kids over here.
Why does
nobody
Jimmy
will
look
notice? Yeah, the one.
It was
with
what
the
Ryan
hair.
Wing last.
This is great. It's the whole full beard episode.
Yeah.
I think this is the first one.
Yeah, right.
First all beer episode.
Yeah,
because when I was on last, Sal had a stubble. That's it.
But people you should name it was it Beards and Booze or something like that, or and every time it's there's just one person that doesn't have a beard.
Yeah,
I don't have much.
I was gonna say that's like a neck beard right there.
Yeah,
is that your COVID beard? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
beard
just roughly. That's not shaved. That's just the way it comes in.
Just grows in all white trashy like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than what Paul had, right?
Yeah, right. That's for sure. I see Chandler jump
That's my wife making fun of my neck beard, by the way.
I was just going to say, does a neck beard count? No, it does not count, to answer your question. Greg's in the house. Greg, you still here? Gregory? Bueller? Anybody?
I remember, I think it was one of the Pine State shows, halfway shows, or one of the Bangor Fests. I want to say it was Pine State. We were doing a raffle, and it was for tattoo from UJ. And Rudder pulled the name, and it was for Sarah. And he's like, "All right, we gotta fuck with Jimmy on this one. So we're just gonna go last name Graham first." Like, Graham? Is there a Graham? Like, last name Graham, and like Jimmy like jumps up like all excited, and we're like, "Sarah."
Yeah, I remember that. That was like what's his name? Bobby's sister Michelle and her were like all weekend going back and forth trying to one up each other for that.
Oh yeah. Talk about one upping. Jimmy was at the Bangor Fest, and I actually never got confirmed or not when you were fucking around with, what was his name? Was it Dan Hicks? Who was a part of his thing was Spider-Man.
Oh man, yes, the little feud him and I had going. Oh, I can't remember his name, but yeah, dude, me, him, and
Hicks.
Yeah, it's
me and Stanwood were going.
Oh, it was Danny Hicks.
Stanwood were going back and forth with him all weekend.
Yeah. Well, you had plenty of time to. But I remember that I was wondering, because I knew he was there because he was known for Evil Dead 2. But he had a picture from Spider-Man up there, like, credited that he was in Spider-Man. And you showed me the clip of what he's in. And I don't know if anybody else knows this, but it's the train scene in... Is it the first or the second Spider-Man? Do you remember?
I think it's Spider-Man 2.
It's the train scene where, like, he swoops in to save him. And there's just real quick, this is my impression of his scene. Okay, ready?
Hey, can you sign the DVD for me, or is it?
He's like, I was in Spider-Man too.
Imagine if you brought to a fest a screen grab of that, just to have him sign it. It's a blur. It's the space fully blurred across the screen. Like, no, that's you. Can you sign this for me?
It's just his face, like.
I don't want to start some big thing with this guy or anything, but like, he came up over to my table. You know, like right next to us, we have what's his name, Robert Mukes.
Yeah, Robert Mukes.
He was right next to him, directly across from me, and he was like so cool. You know what I mean? Like, you could talk to him, and I knew who he was. This other guy came up to the table, and like, I set out candy for like, you know, kids and John Rudder, basically. And he came up and he's like, "How much for one of the Reese's?" And I was like, "Well, 50 cents or a copy of the book." And he kind of chuckles and just grabs a handful of them and walks off. Which, you know, whatever. So then Stanwood does an impression of his quick little scene that Jay just did. And there's nobody around. There's no noise. There's no covering it up. He's just like, "Hey, this is that guy in Spider-Man 2." And it was fun, you know. It was good stuff.
That was so funny.
I feel like I'm always feuding with somebody. Like, I feuded with you one weekend at the very first Bangor Fest.
Yes, you did.
over a Jaws wood burning.
Yeah, but I pretty much gave to you by the end of it. I think I wanted like $50 at the beginning.
Yeah.
And what'd you end up getting it for? Like $20?
Crisp $5
like,
bill.
I set out a crisp $20 bill on the table, and I was like, "Just come pick that up anytime you're ready."
It was Jay spent more money on beer drinking while he was making that than he made him.
He made off of it.
For sure. But it's hanging on the wall.
We ended up rock paper scissoring for it, as I recall.
We did scissor for it. We did.
I'm just thinking of that. We just watched Thor Ragnarok over again.
Oh, so
good. When Korg was like, "I'm just made of rocks. Don't worry, unless you're made of scissors."
Doug,
I'm sorry. We watched that, and then we watched the gallery on Disney Plus about Mandalorian.
Yeah,
there's 2 episodes so far. It's unbelievable just hearing Favreau and all these people. But Taika Waititi is literally one of my favorite people in the entire universe, and just what he can do with what he did with Thor, obviously, is one of our favorite movies, Taylor and I. But also playing the voice of Korg like that, and then hearing him talk and stuff like that, and how he's not all about himself. It's unbelievable.
It's one of the best characters in the movie right there.
Oh,
absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to get you to attack. I want Korg on my arm. And I'm trying to figure out whether because Korg from the movie and Korg from the comic books are completely different. Because Korg from the comic books is like this pinheaded like rock monster, whereas Korg in the movie is more like his head looks like a rock, not like a pinhead. Right. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah. That part with Thor cussing the kid out while they're playing Fortnite. That is like one of my favorite things.
I still want that to be how they bring in Deadpool into the Marvel universe. Is that Noob Master 69 on Fortnite is actually Deadpool, and somehow in this way they're gonna flip it around. And they're gonna show like a throwback back when I was playing Fortnite. And it's him cussing out Korg on the freaking game.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That would be unbelievable. Like when they said that in Iron Man 3, I think it was the guy that had the kid that had the shield, the Captain America shield. They're saying that they like retcon basically that's Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker as a kid, but obviously they couldn't do that yet because Spider-Man wasn't part of the universe yet. But like. That they do that in the back end, like Deadpool's out and that he's New Master 69, or you see it somewhere in his apartment in Deadpool 3 that you see like his video game is up and his username is in the corner, says New Master 69, or doesn't have to like bring it to the front, but I just think it'd be hilarious if that was who it was, Wade Wilson, New Master 69.
That's a really good idea, though. That would be a really cool tie-in. Yeah. Well, it's going to happen because it's on all of our phones now, so somebody's already like.
Making money off of it, and we're not going to make anything out of it.
Tomorrow it'll be in a Korean kids like blog. People still
and
blog.
comicbook.com is going to write this Korean blog said.
We're all going to be like, "Oh, Justin stole that from that kid." Awesome.
Well, with the time difference and the internet,
right?
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna get caught up on a few comments here. Kathy Brown says, "My ginger." It's for you, James, obviously, or it could be Jay, I guess. Jay's ginger.
Catching up on the comments, they're all Sarah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah goes, "At least you can write better books than I do." Talking about the wood burning that's in her basement.
To try it. I'm sure you try it.
Johnny Lynch. Took a quote from Super Troopers and spinned it towards DCTC, where mustaches were the definition of cool in Super Troopers, beards are the definition of cool for the Bangor Comic and Toy Con.
And one sad neck beard.
Hey, a neck beard's a beard, right? It has the word beard in it. So.
Oh, man.
All right, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, I will say real quick, couldn't stand Thor 1, couldn't stand Thor 2. Thor Ragnarok is one of my favorite Marvel movies. Just had to get that out there.
I honestly think it's my fiance Taylor's favorite movie, period. Like, it's unbelievable how great that movie is.
That beginning scene with him and Shane and Led Zeppelin playing is just like... amps me right up every time.
The first 2 Thors had their moments, but they should have been like an hour and a half.
Yes.
Like they could have gotten rid of some of that, like, I don't know, lovey-dovey crap. I don't know what it was that made it drag on, but it just seemed to drag on.
Yeah.
Take your word for it. You're a writer. We're not. So
Yeah, right. I just don't think the story was all that thrilling, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they just didn't really have much to work with.
The one thing I would say is that we're talking about Thor here, entering the entire world of like consumption versus people that are sitting here right now that maybe actually read Thor. You know what I mean? But like now they managed to, even though like looking at it in the grand scheme of things, and yes, there are some problems with it, narratively and such, but like just the fact that they could make millions and millions and millions of dollars off freaking Thor. Like if you told me that 5 years before, I would have been like, you gotta be joking. I mean, I was a pretty big Iron Man fan before the first Iron Man. The first Iron Man came out, I was blown away. You know what I mean? But nobody else knew who Iron Man was.
Yeah.
People that aren't my age didn't know who Robert Downey Jr. was because he'd been in jail for the last 8 years. But just the fact that they've been
managed
able
to take a bunch of superheroes that nobody really cared all that much about and make it amazing.
Yep.
I mean,
name another third movie in a series. A third movie in a series that is the best movie in its series. I don't know if you can. Like, seriously, like, there is movies like, the sequel is sometimes better than the first one. People will say Terminator or Alien or all these other movies. But, like, it's so far higher than the other two. Like, the other two, if you're a Thor fan, you might like 1 and 2. Yep. But Thor 3 and Ragnarok is, like, so much higher than its other movies. That, like, it could be the fact that it's someone like my fiance who's not into Marvel like I am, say it's her favorite movie. Like when he goes to Doctor Strange's, the Sanctum Sanctorum, and he like goes, "Oh yeah, don't forget your umbrella," and he goes like this, and it just crashes through the entire house. Like, oh, sorry. Just stupid dry humor that that's not like, it's not funny unless you just, I don't know.
I think that's what makes it, though, there, is that Chris Hemsworth, when he started making fun of himself, when he started being more of like a fun character, that's when, to me, it became fun. Thor 1 and 2, to answer your question, Johnny, Thor 1, honestly, I just couldn't get into it. Thor 2, I went to see it in the theaters. I fell asleep. I hate to be that guy, but I fell asleep. But Thor 3 is like, to me, Avengers 2 was when, wasn't that when he drank, did he get all fucked up, or did Stan Lee get all fucked up?
Stan Lee did.
Stan Lee did, okay. Yeah, that was like the first taste of that like comedy thing with Thor for me, and then Thor Ragnarok was just like gold, like the whole thing.
My take on it is, go ahead.
No, we listened to a podcast called the Friends from Work podcast, and it's basically these two guys that rewatched all 23 movies in the chronological order and stuff like that, and they were talking about how Chris Hemsworth went to basically Taika Waititi or Kevin Feige and was like, I want a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy for Thor. I want a Thor movie that's like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it has that humor in it, but still some seriousness. I mean, that Thor Ragnarok is a very serious movie if you break away all the humor. If you take all the jokes out of it, I mean, his home is being demolished. Like the prophecies are all being fulfilled, and his sister's a murderer, and he's losing his home. And there's still a point where we laugh and go, that's one of the top 3 funniest Marvel movies there is. And it's like, this guy's world is dying. And we're laughing at certain things. Like, at the end, when Asgard is collapsing,
there's like
and Hulk's like, no, giant monster. He's like, no, we gotta go. But giant monster. It's like, it's funny. And then you're like, this guy's whole world just collapsed. And then they're on the ship, and he's like, hey, Korg, or hey, Meek, where should we go? And he goes, oh, no, Meek's dead. I actually stomped on him. He's like, oh, what? He goes, oh my God, he's alive. And you're laughing, literally, as all these people behind them are homeless. And you're laughing at this. They did it somehow where you're like, I feel bad for him, but still I don't leave the movie going, oh, like a serious movie, like Schindler's List or whatever. Like, it's funny.
That was a serious movie.
Yeah, they carry it over into Endgame too, or into Infinity War, where he's sitting there talking to Rocket and says, my sister's dead, my brother's dead and betrayed me 18 times, my father's dead, my mother dead, and like you're literally like he lost everything he has, and you're just sitting there cracking up like it's
because he called Rocket a rabbit, like that's all you hold on to.
Trash panda.
My take on all those early Marvel movies in the MCU is like, I feel like Iron Man 1 and 2 were funny. They were action and they were action comic movies first, but the humor was there and it was on point. And I feel like they were still trying to figure out these other characters. I feel like Captain America and Thor came across as a little too serious.
Yeah.
Early on, they were, and it wasn't until they kind of relaxed. Because I feel the same way about Captain America. I feel like especially the first one was just kind of, it was good, but it wasn't my favorite. And then by the second one, they started putting a little bit of the humor in there, like his banter with the Falcon. I like that. Like when they're racing around the, I don't know what you call it, but the big pond there in Washington, D.C.
Oh,
He keeps running laps around him, and eventually Falcon, snaps on him. He's like, don't say it! He tries to catch up to him, but he just can't. Like stuff like that. It just made it all better, to add a little bit more humor into it all.
And it becomes the way that Marvel makes movies now. It's like, and then Disney or other other companies are trying to do the same thing, where it's like, let's make a movie that's well-rounded. Whereas we sit at the flipping through Netflix, like, what are we gonna watch? And you're like, oh, let's watch something lighthearted. And one of the only movies to us that fit the right lighthearted but more serious is as a Marvel movie. It doesn't really matter which one it is, honestly, because there is some comedy in all of them.
Right.
But when I saw Thor 1, I'll agree with you, Jay, and Thor 1 and Thor 2 was like, okay. If I sat there and finished Thor 2 and go, this is the first Marvel movie in the MCU that's going to have 4 movies, I would have bet millions of dollars on the fact that it would be, okay, they might not even make a third one. Now that they've actually made, like, Love and Thunder is going to come out as a 4th Thor movie, it's insane. Like, it's just that after the first 2, you would never think that they'd make a 4th one. And now Taika Waititi's going to make a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine how amazing that's going to be. Yeah, you guys sign on to do one of the next Star Wars movies.
Yep. Yeah, just announced, was it a day or two ago?
And then you can see his comedy in the season finale, was it, of Mandalorian?
Yep.
Where the 2, stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's crazy that you could mention that. I know exactly what you're talking about, because that was a very specific scene that, like, part of me was like, it's funny. It's kind of pulling me out of the story a little bit because of how obvious it is, but at the same time, it did feel like it needed to be recognized that stormtroopers suck at accuracy.
Yeah, well, I think part of it's like they bring realistic emotions into it. That even in a serious movie, you're never always serious.
Right.
There's moments where Taylor will say that someone will say something. She's like, "I'm afraid I'm going to laugh at a funeral," because there is funny things in life that happen even during sad moments, and you're just like, "Oh crap, I can't laugh at this." But I feel like Marvel's given us the license to laugh at something that's pretty serious because it's fake. Like, this movie is not real. Can
I give you a quick example of exactly what you're just saying? That's totally like side note from the Marvel universe. Speaking of laughing at a funeral, I just gotta say, I was at my grandfather's funeral on my biological mother's side, so I wasn't super close to him. I was there more for the family, so I wasn't like sitting there sobbing or anything. And my sister, Michaela, is not familiar with, like the Catholic side with the bread and the wine and all that. And she goes up there as part of the service, and everybody's in their line getting their stuff. And she goes up and she just opens her mouth and sticks her tongue out like she's at the dentist, just like, bah. And the priest is just, you can tell he's so confused what to do. And he just slowly, like, lays it on my sister's tongue and just, like, just, like, leaves it alone. And then my sister realized, because I'm looking at her with this look like, what are you doing? And then she just loses it laughing, and both of us are at this funeral just giggling, and people are looking at us like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, that reminds me of that.
That's awesome.
If that's the worst story about church any of us has to tell, though, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah, we could go hours. I grew up in the church, so we're not going to go down that road.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Well, do we want to switch back to topics of why we have you guys all here?
Absolutely.
oh, whatever, you know.
I mean, it's definitely at the end of the day, this is really the point of why we're even doing this, so that James, Josh, Justin, everybody can kind of get out of our heads. And I was saying to Jimmy with this, I was like, one thing you'll notice is I'm sitting in a room right now by myself, but I feel like I'm hanging out with you guys. And then like, we're going to sign off. This is going to turn off and I'm going to be just sitting in my room like, oh yeah, I'm just by myself.
I just saw, for some reason on my Facebook, some of those like top 22 hilarious moment things have come up. And one of them was this like, around Mother's Day, top 22 hilarious moments my mom did or something like that. And one of them was, I heard my mom talking to someone outside, and it's a guy taking a photo outside, and it's a mom sitting in one seat and the cat sitting in another seat. So this mom obviously is just having conversations with this cat this whole time, and the kid's like, what the hell's oh my god. At least Taylor's in the room with me. She's on her iPad over there, so at least I feel like I have someone in the room.
If you see me snap this way, it's because Kimberly came outside for something. I'm like,
hey, what do you want? It's true, though, because I'm having a beer. Josh's having a beer. I mean, people have drinks in their hands. We're having drinks and we're talking to each other. So I feel like this could be a discussion you're having at a bar.
This is as close I can get to going to the bar and shooting the shit with my friends. So, I'll take it. And if it gives anybody else some normal feelings of the same kind of thing, then we're doing something great.
Which bar do you have? Comment. Spring water?
The spring water?
Yes.
Who makes that?
Nature's Promise.
Nature's Promise.
It's a small batch craft spring water.
Spring craft.
Jimmy, what are you doing? You're lying. You already drank all that water. That came out of the faucet, didn't it?
This is all free range water right here.
Organic.
Yeah, organic water. I feel like you could sell that too. You're just like, yeah, here you go. It's organic.
Somebody would buy into it.
From the tap.
Hell yeah.
Use their Brita filter.
Josh, what kind of renovations can you talk about? Or are you keeping things secret?
No, it's not really a big secret. I mean, yeah, exactly.
I forgot that you guys did the podcast today. So
you're fine. I want to go to the bathroom.
All
right. So I mean, it's not really a secret. Anybody that's been coming in, for the last 6 months or so, a year, whatever, probably since we opened, really, because I knew that I had this other 1,000 square feet over on the other side of the bar that was just waiting to be, cleaned out and redone and made into something awesome to add to what we offer here. And so, I talked to certain people about it and what we had in mind. Obviously, there's like a big-ass monkey wrench right now that kind of, makes you think, okay, which way do I really want to go, So it's been a process of like kind of working through it, thinking through it, and figuring out what we wanted to do. But we kept on coming back to the same answer, and that was we want to improve our food options. We want to improve our video gaming options, and we really just kind of want to make a couple changes as far as like how we conduct business, how we charge for things, stuff like that, to make it easier and more intuitive for the customer, and also to make sure we're able to continue to be here as long as possible. We got a 5-year lease on the whole space, 1,000 square feet, so we're here for the long run. So to that end, we took out what we had for a video game room, and we're going to turn that into a kitchen. So we're at doing, something similar to what we were doing before, as far as like accessible, affordable food, fun stuff. But, sliders, pizza, cheese curds, a lot of vegan options as always. So that's going to be a big step. Once we do that, then we can also go back into the liquor side of things. So what I'd like to do, I was a craft cocktail bartender, bartender manager for years and years. That's kind of my wheelhouse, and I'm really looking forward to making, like we do like 4 or 5 specialty cocktails on a rotating menu. I'll come up with some themes and stuff like that, make it fun. And then the other side where we get that 1,000 square feet more, I want to build like a it's going to be a combination of, like your old school arcade with the stand-up cabinets, and then we're got 20 systems sitting here raring to go. I got a bunch of TVs, and we're basically going to build like booths, so it's not going to be quite your same kind of deal as you're used to due to ongoing circumstances.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah, if you're having to include, is your new renovation going to be set up for this new kind of future that we have going on?
Absolutely. So I look at this as, not to minimize any pain that anybody's going through. Like, we've dealt with a bunch of stuff personally. It's crazy for everybody. But it's kind of a blessing in disguise as far as my business is concerned, because I'm able to really kind of take this 4,000 square feet, say, okay, we're entering an entirely new paradigm. What can I do to make this as successful as possible? And I have free reign, whereas a lot of people are kind of like that. Their restaurant's built, they put their money into it, they're paying, you know what I mean? And I have an opportunity to build some things into it. So one of my plans, just as an example, we want to, we're basically using the plexiglass idea. So instead of having, like before, we kind of had booths that were, separated, so you had your own little space. We want to keep that personal space for everybody, but we still want to keep social atmosphere as well. So we're thinking plexiglass partitions between each video game system, and you have your own booth. You can still see people. You're still protected. We can go in and clean a singular booth every time. Just LED lights everywhere, the arcade machines everywhere. It's going to be a big advertisement coming out of those windows on Main Street.
Yeah, I would say, in my personal opinion, with what you just said, and you probably already thought about it, but just make sure that, what you put up is stuff that you, like, put up everything that you need to start, knowing that if you can back off and take those plexi things off, it's still going to look right, kind of deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I'm excited what you're doing for that.
Yeah, it's just something I came up with that kind of blended functionality and aesthetic and the necessary health precautions that we need to take. So I'm hoping that, like, when I put it in, it'll actually look so cool that I don't want to take it down.
Yeah. No,
but we're also like in a world where nobody that runs a business knows what's going to be happening tomorrow, next week, 2 months from now. So
Dude,
that's what's
worth, man.
Yeah, that's what's key as a small business owner, is just being able to think on your feet and be adaptable and try to be innovative and give the people what they want and what they need and take their money.
Not that it seems like there's ever a good time for this to happen, but I guess while you're in the middle of a reno,
right,
there had to be a time.
So that was
it's that silver linings.
Yeah, it just kind of coincided. And just like Justin said, and me and him talked about a couple days ago, silver linings, you got to be positive and just do whatever you can to make it happen. Same as you guys with BCTC, I talk to you guys a lot. I talk to Will, 3 times a week, and I know what you guys were going through. But what I just like admire, and I think it's like a big thing for Bangor, same with OBC, it's just like a situation where everybody is like, it's kind of a Mainer attitude, I think, where we just kind of take what's given to us and then we like find a way to adapt and win, but everybody's pushing forward and like we're all optimistic about our futures, even though everything around us is kind of dark.
Yeah. Are we, let's get this out on the board. Are we living through a modern day plague? Like, are we there yet?
I think, I don't know if we're living through a plague, but I know that it hit me when I went to the grocery store the other day, just walking up to a register and seeing the lady telling you what register to go to, wearing a reflective vest and a face mask, and everybody else is wearing a face mask, and I'm wearing my face mask, and there's plexiglass there. And honestly, we're 2 months into this, and I sat there and I almost had tears in my eyes. I was like, at the beginning of this, back in January, when COVID started happening in China, I thought to myself, thank God we live in America. You know what I mean? I thought to myself, then I go further than that. Thank God we live in New England. Oh, I go further than that. Thank God we live in Maine. Because nothing happens in Maine like this.
Yeah.
And then now we're thinking back, and now we're in the middle of May. Still been closed for, Saturday will be 2 months that Orono Brewing Company closed.
Yep.
And
Tuesday
been closed for 2 months. And we're in Maine.
Yep.
It's unbelievable to me because think about all the other things that have ever happened when an earthquake hits or a tornado hits or H1N1 and all these other Ebola. It wasn't Maine. We didn't have to worry about it. We go through our business we read it on the news. Oh, that's sad or whatever. We just did our stuff.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to the grocery store. My fiance hasn't stepped foot in a grocery store in a public place hasn't stepped foot in a public place in 2 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because she's high risk, so it's insane. It's literally to the point where everybody wants to open up so quickly, but in the same sense, I'm going, we've never dealt with this before. None of us have ever dealt with this before.
Right.
No one who lives in the state of Maine has dealt with this before. No one have any idea what to do.
So I'm going to knock on my drywall real quick. I'm not trying to tempt Mother Nature into proving me wrong, but I feel like this is what a modern plague is like. I feel like, there could always be something more deadly, but we're fortunate to live in a time where there's IVs and machines that can help you breathe if you need help breathing. Think about how devastating this might have been 120 years ago when people weren't washing their hands and when people were, living 20 people in a farmhouse,
Yeah, right.
And
I wonder if it would have spread as fast.
That would have been terrible.
Yeah. I wonder if it still would have spread as fast just because you've got the difference in, population alone and just people traveling. The fact that people are going, what is that? I feel like celebrities are the ones that are getting hit the hardest with all of this because they're traveling everywhere.
Well,
I'm so happy
traveling wouldn't have happened because no one would have come to the United States from China. It would have stayed. It wouldn't have come to the United States. So it's not that I'm blaming China. That wasn't what I was trying to say. But it started in China. And
this
it came
is the
here.
last time we had Justin on our web stream.
Well, I did read an article last night that basically traced a lot of the stuff, and that's exactly right. It's all air travel, international. The world is it's interesting that the world is so large. I drove across the country and back, so I can only imagine what the rest of the scale is, And then, but we're also so connected. It's like that dichotomy of being so connected and yet so far apart in certain ways. But so that's what I think informs this whole situation a lot is, the fact that we can all sit here safe and sound in our homes. We really need something. We can get delivered. We can all sit here and look at each other on our, computers and talk about Thor and, it's really interesting. So that I think, that just to your original question, is this the modern day plague? I would say it's the most modern. I don't know if it's a plague, but I'm an alarmist as far as all this stuff goes anyway. I'm trying to do the best I can to stay away from people, and I closed my business as soon as I could and all that. But at the same time, we're doing all right. I'm glad it's happening now. I'm glad I don't live in. I watch YouTube videos the worst year in history, 536 AD. 80 million people died from the plague, and there was volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun. And I was just trying to take my wins where I can get them.
Well, if we add on to what you guys said, what Jimmy said, what Josh said, was that is this the closest thing to a modern day plague? Yes, it's the same thing. We won't get a serial killer like we had back in the day, that all these different shows like Mindhunters and stuff that was made after, because the fact that science has come so far, investigations have come so far, that the fact that once someone kills 2 people, they can't get to the 18th person because they've getting caught. So it's is this the modern day plague? I think this is the most most will get close to a modern day plague. If it's anything further than this, I feel like it will be biological war. It was purposely put into it. I think this is the most, which is more of a natural way of occurrence. I think in the future, if something like this happens again, where stay-at-home order, it's going to be someone who did it on purpose to try to hurt someone. And that's the difference. And I feel like it's crazy this is 2020, we got into a new century, new decade. I said, but and now we're dealing with this. It's like it's not back in 536 AD. Like it's current. It's crazy.
Well, so I have a ping pong off of that, an idea here too. So this could be controversial as well, but I know we would have this kind of conversation. Anybody's welcome to jump in. Make me stop if you want me to. Don't answer. But now, where do we think anti-vaxxers are going to land as far as it was okay for them to say my children's not getting the vaccine, but now if a new one comes out, are they going to be like, nope, not taking it?
I tell you what, they've been very quiet.
Yeah, right.
I have not heard very many people talk about anti-vaccines right now.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Like, I kept every single Looney Tune on my Facebook friends list, and they're pretty loud about it, actually. The whole thing's
I haven't seen anything. So what is their take on it? What are you seeing as a general consensus?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just like the hardcore conspiracy theorists. So everything is built in together with 5G, Bill Gates, the World Health Organization, China, and COVID, all one thing now. Yeah, so maybe I just have like really crazy people on my Facebook. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Sounds like it, because I don't know, man. I have some crazy people
we all
in
have
there.
man.
Yeah.
I've only had to mute one person, which is I can tolerate a little bit because I can scan through and I can skip over people and I can be like, okay, I understand. I know where they're coming from. Excuse me. I know where they grew up. I know who their family is or whatever it is. So I just move on to the next person. But there was one person who was just like, not that I have any problem with stay-at-home moms. There was a stay-at-home mom who life hasn't changed that much because they're just at home and they're just on Facebook way too much. Like, you need to get off Facebook, period. And now every single one is about how they shut down things when they shouldn't shut down, and all this different stuff. So I'm like, okay, that person's muted. First time I've muted anybody I usually unfriend someone. It's usually because, why am I friends with this person? And they talk like crap. So let's get rid of them. Now it's like, well, I know why I'm friends with this person, but I don't want to listen to their talks of snooze for 30 days.
Yeah.
I hit the 30-day snooze constantly. And what's funny is when you can tell that they finally just came back from the 30 days, maybe like a day ago, and they already said something, you're like, yep, bye. There's more.
Yeah, I would say, like, I don't necessarily trust the government. I don't believe that, everybody in the government or even the majority of them have my best interest at heart, you know what I mean? Like, right. And I like conspiracy theories. I think they're really interesting. I think some of them have some validity, you know what I mean? But it gets to a point where we're talking about reality. Like, come back to reality. Yeah. Like, for the best of everybody. Like, even if you're wrong, you know what I mean? Like, what's the pain, really? Like, just look out for your fellow person and take it easy for a while. Like, it's not that bad.
I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing that's getting me right now is I'm being very reminded of the vibe going around when it was the election year for the originally before Donald Trump got elected. Like, the negativity, the frustration, everybody was so on edge. And I feel like with everything going on, plus, let's not forget, it is an election year, so we got to deal with all that stuff too. So it is very hard to, like, you already feel like an election year that you're not really being told the truth. And then you've got this, and then you've got the CIA releasing UFO information, and like,
no one gives a shit about.
Just like,
hey, guess what?
The murder hornets, Jay.
Yeah, but Trump said this. What, Will?
Don't forget the murder hornets.
Oh yeah, I did forget about the murder hornets.
I tell you what, this is the first year that I don't think the election has made as much sense. Like, there's been some things I have YouTube TV, but we don't watch it that often. We watch certain things or like on-demand things, and when we watched Maine Cabin Masters, I don't know if everybody's ever seen that show, Maine Cabin Masters. Love the show. So we watched it on TV, and there was commercials that came on. There was advertisements, and I felt like no one so far has told me for state elections, not national, like presidential elections, what they're going to do for this state. Just what Governor Mills has done wrong.
Yeah.
Or what this person has done wrong. It's like this
man.
person shut down. Like it's like I don't. It's like what are we voting for the person who has bitched the most about person of the other person? Like what's going on here? And I don't.
Oh.
And I'm glad I don't watch. I watch Netflix more than anything, so I don't have to watch these stupid electric. Like, yeah, let me do my own research. I don't want to watch a stupid commercial.
Well, that's what I was going to say real quick before I forget. Actually, the point of what I was saying earlier was just that because of everything being like political and stuff, I've noticed that you can't have just a regular opinion. Like if I just straight up had an opinion about something, somebody goes, "Oh, you're for this." And you're like, whoa, no, like this, like every issue doesn't go back to politics, but we all have those friends that literally everything you say is about politics. And I've just always been one of those people, like politics do not run my life. I can honestly say I'm not a fan personally of the presidency that we have, but I can also say that personally it has not really affected me other than obviously what's going on now. So I've always been one of those people, like Josh said, like the things that I can control are who I hang out with, the people I keep in my life, my family, my friends, just having a positive attitude. For me, like that's all I need. So as long as I got people like you and everything, I'm good. And so it really bothers me when I could say like what sparked this for me was I'm pro wearing masks, and that's for safety. I'm not immediately pro Janet Mills and everything she says because I think masks make sense. But people will do that. They're like, "Oh, you think masks are good? Oh, so you don't like freedom? You don't want freedom then?" I'm just like, what?
That is where we are at, though. Everything is so polarizing and so controlled by politics. It's unreal.
Well, I emailed Joe Baldacci, who was running for state senate, and said I wanted to get him on the podcast because he's a regular at OBC and he's like downtown. I love the dude, and I thought he's running for state senate, and I think it'd be cool. But I emailed him in the preface of the email about getting him on the podcast. I was like, just want to let you know I know nothing about politics. I know nothing about politics. I want to know when it's best for him to come on my podcast to talk about things because when's it going to benefit him the most? You know, pre-primaries, whatever it is. Maybe it's in November because he wants to right before the election or whatever. But I was like, I just want to preface this. I do not know anything about politics. I will know and look into what needs to happen for the election and follow it along if things go crazy. But I don't pay attention to most of it. It's not affecting me directly, and I know that's probably not the right way to go about it. But like, I just don't get involved in that. I mean, we just talked about Thor. I'd rather discuss which Thor movie was better than which president we should elect.
Yep.
We should all be better at this, but I feel like we're not, and there's not the right information out there, and there's not the whole thing about the commercials. Let me know what you're doing best for me, not what the other person is not going to do for me. Because by you telling me what the other person is not going to do for me, it's not going to do for me. They're not going to. And so I don't know. It's just crazy that we have to be involved in this and stuff. But I was like, I don't know anything about politics, nothing. But I want to talk to you.
So can I ask, since you mentioned it, Justin and Jay, you'd rather talk about Thor. What do we think about aliens here?
Oh, yeah. No one's talking about that. Like, there's the freaking COVID stuff. No one's talking about aliens.
First Tom DeLonge was like, guys, what is going on?
Aliens.
I'll tell you right now that I want to believe in aliens. I think that we are naive and very vain to believe that we are the only species. But I have yet to see anything that really convinces me. That's my take.
Jay, can you see that poster?
No.
I want to believe. I want to believe it's this X-Files poster.
Hold on, I'm watching. You got a delay. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of, like I said, weird stuff, and we went to Roswell, New Mexico. That was awesome. I I think mathematically there is other life in the universe, and that's a certainty. As far as the official line on it, I mean, hard telling, not knowing.
I would love.
I'm a science fiction guy. Like, I'd love for it to be true.
Could you imagine if when we finally did meet an alien, it looked like the egg-shaped head with the whole.
Oh my god!
Just like so watching South Park. It is the South Park aliens.
They look exactly like that.
Or it's E.T.
Well, I would look like John Lithgow from Third Rock from the Sun. That's what I want it to look like.
Or maybe this will blow your mind. Maybe they look like murder hornets.
There you go. Bam.
Oh, Jay, you're a Simpsons guy.
Wait, hold on. Isn't the aliens starting
most advanced life forms in the universe? What if there is other life, but we are the first ones in the universe that have actually like developed our own social skill? What if everything else is just bacteria somewhere right now? Like maybe there's a little tadpole flopping around, but we are.
Well, the movies have always been made. We're stupid. The aliens are smart.
Yeah. Well, we always assume that we're the bottom of the food chain when we think about it. We think about ourselves as top of the food chain on Earth, and then we instantly assume that anybody that would come here must be sufficiently more advanced than us.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so funny. But like, where does that idea of like the gray come from? Like, where does that image come from? And why is it so pervasive in our minds?
Because back when that came out, there was only grayscale. There wasn't a color TV.
I see us exploring space the way that we explore our planet. We're going to go out there and we're going to find these little like fish that reproduce really fast, and we're going to make them almost go extinct because we're going to find them tasty, and we're going to just like pollute their waters. And, you know what I mean? Like, somebody needs to write a sci-fi story from the perspective of some primitive alien, and people are coming and just abducting them, and
we are the abductors.
Yeah.
It's just hold on, time out. It's fitting that Jay's pillow behind him is a paw. just want to make that point.
That's my life, man. My life is made up of TJ Maxx trips that Kimberly took.
Well, I was laughing because I'm trying to find I'm getting prepared because I'm going to talk to Jay on the podcast too here pretty soon. I was trying to get prepared and get ahead of things, and I'm looking for pictures on his Facebook page, and it's like, if you look at pictures of Jay on his Facebook page, it's either him with his son, or him with his fiance and dogs. Like that's it. It's like the entire life is him and his son, him and his fiance and dogs. That's it. It's like there's nothing else. Or someone else's tattoo.
I got this old photo of Jay and Aaron riding a unicorn. I can send you that.
I love that.
That is a good one.
Oh man,
that's a good one. Yeah.
Hey, so Jay, you probably out of any of us, me assuming, I guess, would know more about Simpsons. And Colleen kind of hit on exactly what I was going to ask you. But with how Simpsons are so great at predicting everything.
That's true.
Would they already know what aliens look like? Is there episode? I mean, obviously you've got like
what's his name?
You've got the two.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong. I mean, I will say that I'd definitely be way more chill with the traditional style of an alien if I ran into that rather than the alien from The Simpsons.
Maybe they just look like Simpsons, period.
Oh, man.
Dude,
that would be awesome.
I do. There is some validity to Matt Groening being a time traveler. Like, I mean, there's too many coincidences in his show.
There is a lot, but when you make 9 million episodes,
exactly,
you're gonna hit a couple of things. You know,
if you put enough monkeys in a room with enough typewriters, eventually they're
gonna hit on something.
Maybe aliens are cartoons. We just watched on Disney Plus. We watched there's a show about props.
I've been watching that.
That's awesome. There's a Roger Rabbit one. Who Framed Roger Rabbit one? Maybe that's what it is. Aliens are toons. They're all animated.
At this point, like they could be cows. Like they're probably doing better than we are. Like at this point.
Great show, by the way. Great show. We had a lot of fun watching it. The only one I'm not a Tron fan at all, and I watched the Tron one and I was kind of like lost. But every other one, it was fascinating to see them find the different props and they were able to coordinate the props with telling the story about the actual show, which was pretty cool. Or movie, was pretty cool.
No, I've been digging it. That one's like right up my alley because I love that stuff. But Johnny Lynch says Matt Groening is a Time Lord. I think you're 100% correct. Try and catch up here. I want to say real quick, Jimmy, I'm going to switch to you, just because it's already like 9:12. You just started your own publishing company, correct?
Yep. And
It's
my
called
the Four Horsemen Publishing. Sorry.
Perfect.
This stuff. But yeah, my flagship book, my very first release was supposed to happen on the 20th of April.
Over at Three Graces, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was going to be the release party. Autumn, who runs that shop, did the cover art for it, which I believe Will has.
Yeah,
we can
pull it
that
up right now.
But my first book through there was supposed to be Aberrations and Apparitions. It's a collection of short stories that I've written over the years that I kind of pulled together and put into one volume. And so whenever things open back up and we're allowed to be around each other again, I'm gonna release that. So I mean, kind of sucks that it got delayed, but everybody's suffering.
Yeah.
For
sure. Do you have? Is there anything right now for people to go check out? You got a website? You got a link or anything you want to?
My Facebook page. I have for both my author page, which is Writings by James Graham, Facebook.com, obviously, and then I have a Four Horsemen publishing page, which is separate. But yeah, I have one published novel out there, and I have several anthologies that I'm published in. But this anthology was supposed to be the first thing that I published on my own. I'd always done traditional publishing before. Finding a publisher, sending it in, having them publish it, and just kind of wanted to try doing it on my own and having the full creative control of everything. I didn't want to have anybody fighting me about artwork. I didn't want to have any deadlines that I felt like I had to meet.
It's a lot of work, but you get to at least reap all those benefits once you put in all that.
Yep. And Autumn, I think, has done a great job with the cover. She's also each story. I kind of thought about how cool it would be to have like a little sketch at the beginning of each story. And she took what I imagined to be little pencil scratchings of a madman, and she took it into legitimate artwork, and it looks really nice. And if nothing else has happened because of this delay, it's given her more time to just pour into that artwork and just make it shine. It looks awesome, and I can't wait to show it to everybody.
Probably works out better in your benefit in that aspect, because I know personally, just doing how much I have a hard time keeping up with the tattoo orders, having the drawings ready to go, and then to be pouring your creativity into a side project, it probably actually is working out in your benefit that we're going through that.
If anything, I mean, if this keeps going for another couple months, I might wait until the fall. It's a horror anthology. I might shoot for closer to the con, and that way it's coming out sometime around Halloween too. Month before Halloween.
Either platform, I'm sure you can do a great book opening at Three Graces, or you can do both, and definitely at ours. I know.
Well, that was my plan. I was going to have the opening party on Monday night before the con at Autumn's shop, and then the first event that I was going to do was 4 days later at your Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Which, I think we all agree that it sucks that got delayed.
How crazy is it to think that that's come and gone? When we were going to do our event, it's just spending a year.
I could have had all my candy stolen by John Rutter already.
I watched your guys' pod. You guys were on your stream on the Saturday night that you would have been at con.
Yeah.
And it's just it's fascinating. You guys were at your house. You weren't even it's insane that that didn't happen.
I messaged Will that Sunday around 4 or something like that. I just was dude, normally right now I would be out of my mind, exhausted like a zombie right now while we're wrapping things up, and I'm bummed that that's not happening. I was mentally prepared for that weekend. This time I took off extra time because last year I'm thinking, oh yeah, I'll do tattoos until like the Wednesday before, and then I'll be fine. But then like it came closer to it, and I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to still work and try to make this stuff happen while we got to go pick people up and everything. But I was actually looking forward to that, and now I'm just like.
Is that why I couldn't get an appointment?
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the. You know, me and Jay kind of hit on it each episode, but like this year too. You know, it's kind of like taking the wind out of our sails because we've put so much into it. The team behind us has put so much into it. I think we almost started doing staff meetings July or August of last year. Like, we were so ahead of the game. I had so many different things set up to help things try to run smoother. You know, the excitement of, hey, we're moving into the arena, like big, you know, 5th year anniversary for the con, like, you know, go into a much larger space. As you guys all know, being, you know, involved with the con or knowing, you know, cons in general, guests canceling, you know, all the time. And for us to be, we were almost basically finished booking flights. So we were, you know, at that month point and everybody was still on board. There wasn't like a guest cancellation. And we're like, holy shit, for the first time that we've done this convention, we are going to have all of the guests that we've been, you know, pushing actually there. So it's just, it's been very interesting to kind of.
This, for me, this was the most exciting lineup since that very first Bangor Toy and Comic Con with Ernie Hudson and Lando Calrissian. You know what I mean? Like this, I'm so excited for this October because, dude, those Clerks guys.
Yeah.
Like, for me, Clerks was my introduction to, like, adult comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was at that age where, like, I had watched a lot of what I thought were comedy movies, and that was, like, my transition from being, like 10 and only laughing at Adam Sandler slapstick stuff to like, oh, there's a whole different element to comedy that I didn't know, and it's just hilarious. You know, like, the first Clerks movie is one of my favorite movies of all time.
That was that, and I was just gonna say real quick, CKY and Clerks literally were those two things for me that like absolutely blew my mind as a kid. That I was like, wait, there's another world out there.
Right? Yeah.
Wait, are you trying to say, Jay, that you're gonna get CKY members to come to con? Or oh my god,
I wish.
Oh my god, you're right though. Like every time you wait for those announcements from the VCTC, like you wait for those it's Under Oath was my favorite band in high school, right? Like I went to see Under Oath many times, and when Waterfront Concerts announced that like they were coming to the waterfront, it was like, wait, this person's gonna be in my backyard. They're gonna be right there. I can go see this person. I've seen Under Oath 10 times.
Yep.
But it's in my hometown. It's in the town that I live in, basically. Right. And to see, like, Jason Mewes and the people from Clark's and stuff that are going to be in my hometown, they're going to know what Bangor, Maine's like. And then to see it get postponed, it's like, in your mind immediately, I know what you guys go through. I know what you guys are doing. I talk with Jay and Will on a regular basis. Like, I know you guys are struggling. Not struggling, but it's not easy to get people to come to Bangor, Maine. Yeah. And we have International Airport, but it's like, it's still up here. And so, like, to see you have to change it to October, I'm like, well, are we going to have a completely different con? Is it going to be, like, is it absolutely going to be different? And so, knowing that you guys have to go through that struggles again and try to get people to come here to a different date, that you guys are like, all right, everybody was going to come, now everybody has to come to a different date. It's like, oh, God.
It's been one big, insane fire drill, basically, that Will and I have gone through.
Yep. So a few months ago, I had bought a gift certificate from Jay for a tattoo, and I kind of thought about doing like a Predator, but then I'd also like talk to my wife. I was like, how cool would it be to have the guys from Clerks write like a I'm not even supposed to be here today on like a piece of paper and have Jay tattoo that on me. Like how cool.
No, I have him write it right on you, and I'll tattoo that on you. That'll be the stencil.
Yeah, we'll just bring that to the green room.
Jay's looking for what's easier. It's easier for the right on you.
Yeah, right. It's got
Sorry, Grandma, for watching.
That
was part of my I thought something like that would be like how cool of a story would that be? Like, that tattoo is from the actor.
I would absolutely love to do something like that. That's what we tried to do with Will with Sid Haig. I started like a caricature, not a portrait, not like super detailed, but of Sid Haig. And we got like the line work done, and we were thinking that we were going to get him to sign his leg, and then I was going to go and do that, and then it was just like absolutely out of the question. Like, how the fuck are Will and I supposed to leave this convention Sunday after, and go do a tattoo? There was no way. But he did get to show Sid the tattoo at least. So that was nice.
Absolutely.
Well, Jay, my first tattoo from you, Stan Lee, was Thanksgiving Eve.
Oh yeah, right.
And just like 10 o'clock at night, and Jay's like, dude, I'm sorry, man. I gotta go home. I cannot do this anymore. I'm exhausted. Like, you can't imagine
here that hasn't been tattooed by me, and that's including me. Like, I've tattooed myself more than I've tattooed Josh.
Forecast was tattooed in there.
Right.
Once you guys, Sam Wood was my best man at my wedding, you know what I mean? So, but once you guys open up, I'll come in and get a twofer. I'll just switch seats halfway through.
Or no, you just stay where you are, and I'll
okay. We could do
gloves, and I'll sit down.
I could take
Queen City tattoo, man.
Right.
You're 2 years in. You get a Queen City tattoo.
Gosh. That would be pretty sick. If there's anybody that Sam and I could do a collaboration on, I think it would be you. So maybe that's something we need to talk about.
I think we've just made a deal, my friend.
Right? You got to use
my new iPad.
If I have any space left. I gotta make sure.
Space tattoo stories, Jay. But do you have anything that tops you and me sitting in that dark shop by ourselves, listening to Barry Manilow?
I still tell people about
wait. What the hell are you talking about?
Dude, so, when I first started tattooing, and Jimmy and I used to work at Gagan's together, and he was one of my first guinea pigs that I was going to do a tattoo, and I did this small Punisher tattoo on the side of his leg, and it's just me and him at the shop all by ourselves, and I'm so new to tattooing, I'm already uncomfortable enough. We're sitting there, and I have to shave his leg. I have to shave that spot. And we're sitting there, and he pulls up on his phone a friggin' Barry Manilow song while I'm shaving his leg. And I straight up was like, Jimmy, you gotta stop. I cannot shave your leg with that song playing. I can't do it.
No, wait. You guys kissed each other, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there nervous because he's got a razor up against my skin, like full belly laughing, like, dude.
I still tell people about that. I'm just like one of the most uncomfortable but amazing moments in my life.
Well, I think talking about that is the tattoo, like this is the Stan Lee tattoo. Jay used to play plays heavy music, likes heavy music. It was like when Sam's in the shop and when I got my Run the Jewels, Deadpool and Infinity Gauntlet tattoo, Sam was there tattooing. Honestly, actually, he was tattooing another Marvel. Or no, it was Sam. Whatever. But the time that we were in the shop together alone, you're like, I can actually play some of this music that both my client and I agree and listen to. And some Vanna came on and all this stuff. And it was like, I forgot how good this stuff was. And I was like, actually, this is kind of funny because where do I go ever that they're playing this style of music and the music I want to listen to on the radio while I'm in your business? Well, Josh.
That happened with a client that came in with Thrice. Of all days, I've always loved Thrice. It's just one of those bands I love, and most people either know exactly what I'm talking about or they have no idea. And of all days, I was like my day for the radio, and I was just jamming Thrice all day. And this guy came in, wanted to get his first tattoo. He heard about getting a tattoo from me, so he's coming to see me. And it was a Thrice tattoo that he wanted. And he comes in, and Thrice is blaring. And he's just like, yup. Like, this is it.
Isn't it? It's the world's aligning, saying.
Yeah. It worked out perfectly. It was great.
Yep.
Yeah, I noticed last time when I was when I came in, I did a flying whales tattoo, Gojira tattoo. We had Gojira on for maybe 20 minutes, and that mysteriously turned off and went to the more laid back acid rock type stuff,
Gojira,
which I love too.
Gojira doesn't last that long in a shop like that once the regular public starts walking in.
Right, for sure.
That's like that with NWA. That's like a guilty pleasure of mine. So if nobody's in the shop, I'm like blaring NWA radio. But the second anybody walks in, I got to turn it off because you just never know at any moment what just rude thing you're gonna hear blare through the speakers.
For sure.
Hey, Jimmy, what song was that Barry Manilow song? Johnny Lynch?
I know, I just saw that and I'm trying to rack my head. It was like I'm pretty sure love is in the title.
Smart money.
But, yeah, why can't I remember? I don't know, man. I just know that Jay kept like singing little snippets of it throughout the next hour and just being like, God damn it, I hate you. Yeah, dude, this is kind of weird, actually. This is like, except for like, you two other guys. This is like a weird little Gagans reunion that we've got going here. Like,
right. I mentioned before we got on the recording that I was like, "Hey Jay," Jimmy said to me, he messaged me on Facebook, was like, "It's like a reunion." I was like, "Yeah, we all worked at Gagans together."
Like, there was probably a time where we were all in the office mowing down on pieces of the same chieftain melt together.
Irish nachos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I tell you what, man. I'm so glad that the first week or two of this, so like end of March, that Taylor and I got reserve wings to go and a pint of pub cheese, and we mowed down on those because like the fact that they got overwhelmed and doing to-go order and they closed. I need some reserve wings. I desperately need. I tried making my own reserve sauce here, which everybody in the world has done. Yeah, and I got close, but it's like I need the Gagans family of people in the kitchen to make it for me. I want to go in there. I want that. I mean, who was it? Lance. Lance Snapchatted me, was like, I need a reserve quesadilla now.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable how there's this company like Gagans, for example, where I got my start in the beer industry. It's so needed in this area. It's like, what would we do if Gagans closed up? It pissed me off that they don't sell their cheese or their reserve sauce in grocery stores. That's what pissed me off. I was like, I can buy Pilots,
yeah,
cheese,
and they're not even around,
and they're not even a company anymore. Like,
that's what it would probably end up being. Like, if Gagans actually ran out of business, they'd probably still sell their Gagans pub cheese.
They got to. I mean, it's like it's. I can make, if I had leftover wings. So if I buy a pound of wings, I had 2 or 3 tenders left over, say, and some pub cheese, I could make myself a chieftain omelet or a chieftain at home, little leftover stuff. I just can't do any of that. It's the breading and the tenders and the sauce all together. I need some Gagans. I want Jimmy back to work. I want.
We made Angry Irishman last night for dinner.
See?
Yeah. My favorite. My wife is a wonderful cook. It's not, not quite the same, but that's my
pub cheese.
You got to do the best you can when you're living.
I'm trying to remember, what is it? It's steak, pepperoni, jalapenos, pub cheese.
And the thing that makes the sandwich though is the bread. The way they do the bread, just like with the wings, it's the texture of the wings that makes it. You know what I mean? I love Gagans, dude.
Plus, I mean, isn't every food in the world better when someone else serves it to you?
For sure.
Like, seriously, when someone else brings it out to you and puts it in front of you and you eat it, that is literally the best food. Like, I don't care what it is. It's better than...
that was always like that with, like, a can of Mountain Dew. I always been, like, with soda. I'll either drink it or not. But if somebody, like, had a fresh can of Mountain Dew, and I was like, can I get a sip of that? You take a sip, you're like, dude, I need one of those. That was so good. And then you get your own, you're just like, it's not the same.
Not the same. And that's why I understand being in the beer industry where someone's saying something off draft versus can. And it's the exact same beer, but I understand in the mental capacity that you go through that when someone pours it for you at Josh's place. I mean, Josh, we have 4 taps.
Right.
He has some great beer on draft, but he has an amazing selection in cans. And a lot of times the cans is what I want to go to, but like with him, when you pull that handle back and you pour the beer, it's the love and the care that goes into pouring that beer. It tastes the same, but But
on the other side of that, I have become that snob with the foam. It drives it. Like, if you're gonna give the presentation with the foam, get it to my table with the foam on it.
Yes.
If I order 22, if you offer me the bigger beer, you're like, oh, you get more ounces, and you show up to my table and all the head is gone, and all that extra beer you just sold me on is gone, I'm pissed immediately.
Hey, Jay, didn't both of us work behind the bar at Gagan's? And not to shit on any Gagan's server at all, because, I love those people. But the number of times I poured a beer and put it for the pickup station, and 20 minutes would go by, and it's like, where the hell is that server? I poured the perfect beer. That beer looked amazing when I sat down, and then they just grab it and take off with it. I'm like, no. Let me top that off a little quick.
Yeah. I used to do that all the time.
Jay, do you remember a really, really hot day in the summer when we were all eating popsicles in the kitchen? It was like 103 degrees in there, just all of us sweating.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with this.
You're like about to take a huge bite of that popsicle, and Ken just smacks that fucking thing right out of your hands. And that started. Tempers were so high that actually started a fight, despite the fact that there were 97 more popsicles.
Dude, that popsicle represented more than the popsicle, okay? And oh my God, man, I've never wanted to punch somebody so bad in my life. I love Ken right to death, but that guy, he knew how to push your buttons. And in the same regard, what I did with Ken, my little sister started working there. And I know that my little sister is not an ugly girl. So I knew when she came to work at Gagan's, I was going to have to, pump everybody's brakes. Like, listen, this is my little sister, and I'm going to kill you.
I remember one of those talks.
Yeah, I said to Nikki, and I was like, listen, the kitchen there, you're a girl, you're going to come in, you're an attractive girl, they're going to eat you alive. They're immediately going to, like flies on shit, they're going to come at you. And I was like, there's Ken in the kitchen. When you go there, the first day you walk into that kitchen, you walk in, you say, which one of you is Ken? And then when he says me, you call him a bitch. And
she did it.
My little sister, like this little half Filipino girl, that looks like she's like 10 years old.
She's tiny too.
Yeah, she walks right in, and everybody's like, "Oh, this is Jay's little sister. Here we go." And she just goes, "Which one of you is Ken?" And Ken's like, "Oh, that's me." And she looks right at him. "You're a bitch." And like mic drop, everybody like she was in immediately. She was accepted in the game right there.
I don't know because after 5 minutes because I was laughing so hard. I kind of blacked out. Like
the connection goes. I left Gagan's and went to Orono Brewing Company, and I was behind the bar at OBC downtown Bangor, and Ken would walk to work. So Ken would walk by the window at OBC, but you know how small the window at OBC is? So like, if you're walking at a good clip behind it, it's like the guy from the Spider-Man. So Ken would look and he'd wave and he'd be like, it was like, oh, that was Ken. Hi, Ken. See ya. Bye, Ken.
That's so funny. I missed
tall enough to get into the window. Like he must have been up on his tippy toes or something.
Yeah, exactly, right? But that's the thing about, like, part of this is obviously Jay and I don't work at Gagan's anymore, but like the idea this whole COVID thing is done is I miss the kitchen staff. As a general manager at Orono Brewing Company, I was managing everybody, and I'd walk from the front of the house to the back of the house and check in on everybody. And it's like I have to text these people now and be like, "Hey, how's it going? I miss you." Like, I don't need. I would like to hang out with them outside of work, but I don't need to because I see them 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
But it's that now I haven't seen these people for 60 days, and I miss that. Like the stories we're telling for 60 days, those stories haven't been created. You know what I mean? Like there's a missing time where those stories of funny things that happen in the kitchen or funny things that happen in front of the house just haven't happened. I mean, it's insane how there's been basically like a pause on life for us to work.
With that, it actually reminds me, just to make a good point, sappy whatnot, but just a reminder, anybody watching, anybody here, please reach out to people that you know and love and send them a message, ask them how they're doing. Right now is a very tough time for everybody. I've always prided myself on, not really feeling like a depressed person, or I get by pretty good. I'm pretty good about feeling pretty positive, but this is really taking a toll on I think about people that were already struggling before this, and now think about how bad I'm struggling personally because of it. Definitely reach out, just say, hey, ask if somebody needs something. It goes a long way. You have no idea. Right
I was excited to talk to one of my neighbors for 5 minutes about a port today. Like that was fantastic. He wasn't 6 years old. He wasn't asking me for cookies. He was somebody, my age,
But you wanted a cookie.
talking about something that wasn't like a kid's show, and it was just
It's true. My landlord putting in the mulch out front, and I was like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" It's like, people.
We were immediately that 80-year-old man on the street that comes out for every construction thing that happens on the street.
If my kids weren't if it wasn't like 11 in the morning and my kids weren't like around, I would have run inside real quick and grabbed a beer and just watched him do work while I pretended to, help out or whatever.
Not throw open. I wish we had that photo ready to go of Jimmy and the Speedo on the porch. Right now.
Will wanted that to be my promo pic for this.
Yeah.
I debated on that with Jay with some of the promo pics of the podcast. My podcast was like, what picture? Would it be a funny picture? The picture of you saying you need a haircut? Is that what we need?
It's supposed to be on the live feed in a second.
We can kind of see it, but not well.
There. Well, yeah, I've got it on like my camera, so it's like.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. Jimmy, you wear it well, man. I bet you look better in that Speedo than I would look in the Speedo.
Now, that was a Secret Santa gift, right?
So you mean for Donna? I bought her 2 picture frames as a Secret Santa gift, but I took out like the cute little pictures that are always in them of a random family. I took those out and I replaced one was me sitting on the toilet, and then the other one was me with no shirt on, laying under the Christmas tree, just giving like.
The best part about this story, hold on, time out, Jimmy. The best part of the story is that that's an HR nightmare. That's an HR nightmare.
The best part was Donna just put them up around the restaurant, so they were just up for like a couple days. You'd look up the line while you're making food and just see me taking a dump off the wall.
I think I had my last Secret Santa gift. I got a Deadpool wall at my final year at Gagan's.
There's a girl that works there now named Caitlin, and this last year I was her Secret Santa, and it was a calendar of me. Nothing risque because I didn't really know her. I'd only met her a couple of times. But it was just 12 months of random pictures of me. And each month had like a random Jimmy Graham fact or saying or something on it.
Your catchphrase.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I do say I miss those days. I love being at Orono Brewing Company, but there's something to say about working at Gagan's that some of us can only last so long. There was a point towards the end, Jay was like, I want to start tattooing.
Yep.
But there's that aspect of, I will say, I'm a Mug Club member. I do miss going Mondays to see the people that were there.
Are you getting prorated?
The door. What?
Are you getting prorated for your Mug Club?
I'm not going to go there, Jay. What are you doing? I'm not going to. I guarantee you they'll do something. But the idea was to go there on a Monday and drink a pint of beer or a mug of beer and talk to the people that you knew were going to be there. You can't go anywhere and know someone's going to be there unless you have an appointment with them. But to go in on a Monday and walk in those doors and walk through the bar and just be like, oh, hey so-and-so, and just say hi to people. When I brought Taylor in there for the first time, she's like, you know everybody in this building. Yeah, that's pretty much true.
I don't eat much, to be honest. I definitely don't feel like some asshole about it, but sometimes I don't want to go to Gagan's because we know everybody there, and I want to be able to sit down and enjoy myself.
And not hear.
I never got that. I forget who it was that someone brought a date there. It was like, who the hell is bringing a date here? You're freaking stupid.
Howie.
Probably Howie doesn't know any other bar.
Yeah.
He knows going to Gagan's, he'll be overserved and no one will stop.
What's great is I work in the kitchen. I don't even go out in the pub, except to like clock out at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And the regulars are so regular that I still know them.
Yes, when you work in the kitchen.
Like, there's some that you
can't also probably know their order.
Like Kip, dude. Once you meet Kip, you never forget Kip.
No one forgets Kip. Go to any restaurant or bar in the greater Bangor area, and everybody knows Kip. Period.
The guy,
at
one point, it was either the guy with the crow on his shoulder, or it's become the guy with the fox mink.
Yeah.
Hey, the guy that thinks he's a pirate, but he's not a pirate? That guy? yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. He's probably been in the Josh's place.
His head.
Oh, I know that guy.
Kip used to come in the Blaze with Josh to Blaze, I guarantee it.
Oh yeah. Like only once or twice. I think he came in here once, but
it's because he didn't have a red ale. If you don't have a red ale, then you can screw up.
he asked me.
That's
he asked me for.
He said to me at OBC.
Yeah, he's like, I need grog, and I'm like,
oh my
dude,
god,
I can't help you with the grog
put
here.
this beer into my mug. Nope, sorry, I'll give you two in my clean glass that I know is clean.
Right.
Might as well order some sarsaparilla at Queen City.
But seriously, with me not being on an aspect of I work for a brewery or a pub or a restaurant, but this is what I think the world misses the most. And I hate to say it. I mean, I can't wait to get ink from Jay. But the community aspect that bars and restaurants bring to people, and I want to open correctly in the right way, but I cannot wait for that to happen because I think that the number of people that I've met over the years that I've invited to my wedding, to whether it's digitally or coming to the actual physical wedding, that I met in a restaurant or a bar in the Bangor area, is like there's 20 people, 30 people that I know that the 80 to 100 people that are invited either digitally or actually physically to my wedding came from a bar or restaurant, whether it be Gagan's or Blaze or Queen City.
I love in your invitation how it actually says it's like you are technically still invited to our wedding.
We tried to make it that way because it's hard this time. We laughed though as we were trying to put together. Today we talked after work. We talked about the people that are invited to our rehearsal dinner. So we have a rehearsal dinner obviously the day before. We have 19 people on that list. There's only 50 people invited to the wedding. Almost half the people that go to the wedding are in the wedding. It's so funny. It's like we could literally invite half. Oh, let's slim this down. Okay, so half the people come to the wedding. Is that
that's what we were planning on doing for our wedding, but beforehand, like Kimberly and I, we know that kind of like how Jimmy was making fun of us. Like we've been together so long that I think when we get married, more people are more going to be like, finally, than like, more of like a celebratory thing. So we were like, with the amount of people that Kimberly and I have met and known over the years, like I want nothing to do with table arrangements or anything. So we already said like the wedding's going to be on one day, very small. And then the next day is like an open party. Like sit where you want to sit.
You're like
buffet style food. That's it.
Well, Peter Griffin looks
like a pop reception.
What's the next neighbor on Family Guy? On Family Guy, the next door neighbor, the guy in the wheelchair.
Joe
Swanson.
Joe. His wife, Bonnie.
Yeah.
Where Peter looks at her and goes, either have the baby or don't. That's the thing right now. Either get married or don't. That's end of story. Yeah. This needs to happen or just doesn't need to happen. We're done.
Yeah. Well, that was like our engagement. I mean, we just hit 3 years. Like, first year anniversary of engagement, cute. Second year, okay, great. Third year, embarrassing. Like, we can't celebrate our engagement anymore. Because it just...
Yeah, this year.
We just talked to our friends Addie and Casey, and my friend Casey used to make the joke when someone used to come to the table and we'd all be together, and he'd say, are you two together? He goes, yeah, 4 years. Well, we got to the 5th year, and someone goes, where's the ring? Stop using that joke. Doesn't use that joke anymore. It's like, oh, crap, now there's pressure on me.
I joke around, but me and Sarah were engaged for like a long time, like, 7 or 8 years before we actually got married.
I mean, Like,
You're right. Yeah. We got engaged, and then we didn't care for a while.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not getting myself in trouble here because she's watching me, but for us, we'd already been together so long that we were already married in our own minds. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't on a piece of paper, but nothing. I didn't feel any differently about her one day to the next.
You hated her just as much.
Right, the hate was still strong.
I'm just gonna give a casual wink here.
Right.
This is who I'm marrying right here. See?
We're bringing in significant others, huh?
How'd you pull that?
How did I pull that off? She does what I say. I'm in charge. She's gonna hate that because she's like, it's all my hair.
Will.
Yo.
Buddy.
Yeah.
What's
How
up?
you doing?
I'm here.
First of all, Will, I love this shirt.
Paid attention to any of them at all.
The shirt is perfect, Will.
Oh, thank you.
That shirt is amazing. Where'd you get that?
I think Chelsea got it for me for Christmas, so probably Hot Topic.
DickTowels.com.
That movie is still a guilty pleasure of mine.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even before I had kids, I would still watch that every once in a while. Just
Goofy movie.
such a good movie.
Yeah.
That pop scene at the beginning where he's dancing and singing in the school is awesome, and then at the end when they're all on the stage,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
so many
All the
movies.
sparks and everything shooting off the big screen.
Plus, I'm unfortunately a huge Pauly Shore fan. I understand that he's not an A-list actor, but for some reason, I just can't get enough of that guy. And
That guy was part of our childhood, man.
He was, and the funny thing is, talking about Pauly Shore is, was it last year when we had lost Ryan Hirsch, or maybe it was even before we still had Ryan Hirsch. We were talking about adding another guest, and I was showing Jay the list of clients that one of our agents that we work with has, and Pauly's one of them. And we were just like, how crazy would it be to get Pauly Shore to come here?
I was
absolutely.
Yeah, so we looked into it. And
we could make it happen, but to be honest with you, Pauly is one of those people where we were like, he's either gonna crush it or just not barely make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest gamble with where we live, unfortunately, with Bangor, is trying to get the price right for what these people, unfortunately, when that comes in, and our demographic and how many people realistically are going to come in and actually, it's one thing. It's with that drunk chick with Eric Rabbit from Super Troopers.
Yes.
It's so many people. It's that awkward moment where they go, "Oh my God, it's you! I want to take your picture." Okay, great. Let me take a picture with you. Oh well, it costs money. Immediately, the line has been drawn, and they either are cool with it or they are just what the fuck?
It would help if Pauly Shore had done anything in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
that might help too. You know what I mean? But it's people our age, because the people that are older than us thought he was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The people younger than us thought he was stupid. But the people in our little age range just think that he's great.
Yeah. And he could fit that bill kind of like Joey Fatone. Joey Fatone was that guy for us. He was that guy that we're like, okay, we know we're going to have kids. We know that we're going to have probably their mom, some of them, their mom's going to be there. What age is that mom maybe going to be? She might be in our age group. Well, Joey Fatone is going to be that grab for that particular person. So Pauly Shore could maybe be somebody that would kind of fit that demographic for the people that are going to be there in our age group. Yep. He could be that wild card, but I don't know. it's
I want him to squeeze my cheeks like he does the little ginger kid in Son-in-Law. I just want him to a little chubby cheek. And That would be.
You'd be the person that pissed him off. Like, oh my god, again.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we did the interview with Ryan O'Halloran, and Mark Mason from 89.3 WHSN was like, so like how annoying, or like, do you get sick of having to say I'm not even supposed to be here today, and he's just like, no, it kind of just he's like, I wouldn't say annoyed, like it kind of just comes with the territory, like I know this is what I'm known for. I'm going to not ride this, but like it's expected, like people are coming to see me for that reason, and I may say it 1,000 times throughout the weekend, maybe even more. He goes, so it may be, kind of annoying or get old for me. He goes, but for that person, that's the one time they're hearing it. He's like, so getting to see like that joy and excitement from them from it is ultimately, it makes it more worth it than anything else.
Well, and that one little negative response you might make to that one person could honestly have a ripple effect. I think about stuff like that carries over, where it was kind of nice to be on the other side of this for once, because Jordan, who was working at a tasting room at Gagan's again, sorry. I know all these people there immediately. He was telling me, I brought up Mick Foley, and he goes, oh, Mick Foley, he was such an asshole when I met him. And I'm like, wow, what? Like, you're the first person I've ever heard that's talked about meeting Mick Foley and saying that he was a jerk. And he's like, well, and then once he started describing it, I'm like, dude, it was you. Like, it was you. The way that you were acting, that you said you've been drinking, the questions that you just told me, like how you were treating him, you were the problem. And like, imagine being that guy and dealing with that. Like, how would you respond? And he immediately was like, you're right.
I'll tell you right now, that's a perfect Jordan expression. That's a perfect Jordan impression.
I ran Mick Foley down. I saw him at Santa's Village in New Hampshire when I was like 11.
Oh, damn.
And I chased him down, and I was like, you're mankind. I love you. You're awesome. And he was so chill about it. He even had I don't think I have it anymore, but he even had like like those old Topps baseball cards. He had like a handful of those that he had brought to give out to people that ran up to him, because he probably didn't want to stop and sign something. So he had signed some stuff, and he was handing those out to people that ran up to him. And I thought he was awesome. He took gave me like a solid 45 seconds of conversation before he moved on. And he wasn't rude about it. He's super nice about it, but.
And that's what I hear from everybody about Mick Foley, is that he is that kind of person. So, immediately when I heard that, I was like, I bet it was you.
Meeting Mick last year, he was great. Everything, even hearing just, stories from Al about working shows with him, or, at the wedding, it's just, you can just tell Mick's definitely a great guy. So it was probably definitely, the same with, the person who had an issue with with Billy D. Williams. That's the one negative story I hear about Billy D. Williams, but you also don't factor in, like we had said before, Billy D. is an older gentleman. It was a long flight. He was, I think he had been filming stuff for Star Wars the week leading up to flying in. Yeah. And I think they just had the Star Wars premiere. One of the days before, so it's the guy's super tired. It's not an excuse by any means if it was a negative experience, but not every experience is going to, not everyone's going to get that same experience, but it doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad one.
But also, you only hear about bad experiences either.
Amazing. Ernie Hudson, the best. Ernie Hudson.
Oh, Ernie was fantastic.
When things were winding down, him and I and my wife did a little photo shoot, and he only charged us for the autograph. Nice. But we got chatting and stuff, and he talked to me and my wife for probably 10 minutes when the con was winding down, and he brought us over to the Ghostbuster mobile. It wasn't even it was at his booth. He was like, hey, I've been wanting to do this all weekend, and he brought us over to the Ghostbuster mobile, and we did a picture there, and And it was just so cool because I actually he's the one celebrity that's been brought in that I actually got to have like a legitimate conversation with.
Mm.
And
about Danny Hicks?
You said legitimate conversation.
Enjoyable. Enjoyable conversation. Yeah. And it was just cool because everybody was going nuts about the Ghostbusters, which I love Ghostbusters, but I'm like one of those obscure people who loves the movie Congo. And so I was super excited to talk to him about that. And I asked him, I was like, out of all the movies and shows you've done, like, what was your favorite? And he's like, if you're talking about how much fun it was to make it, you can't beat Ghostbusters because I was there with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and all these people. But he's like, honestly, it's funny that you picked Congo because that was the most fun character for me to portray because I was actually like a little bit of a badass.
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in so long. I need a refresher on Congo.
So that was, that was just a cool little interaction that me and my wife got to have with him. And that was,
That's awesome.
That was something. That was my first ever con.
Oh, cool.
And that was just like my introduction to it. So that was awesome.
Hey, useless Ghostbusters facts, but does anybody know who almost was scheduled or planned to play, to be the role instead of Ernie Hudson and Bill Murray?
Wait, both of them?
Yep. Was it Wesley Snipes? No.
No, there's two other actors that were going to be chosen.
Did you watch the thing on Netflix? Is that what it was?
No. I've got a trivia over here, and I was going to use that as one of the things, but I did a different Ghostbusters question.
I have no idea, man.
So Ernie Hudson was originally supposed to be Eddie Murphy. But due to
Eddie Murphy, yes. That was on the movies that made us on Netflix. Yep. That was one of those trivia questions, or one of the things they learned on that show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was. I can't tell you exactly what movie it was, escaping me, but he had just signed on for something else. So due to the contract, he wasn't able to take the role. So Ernie got it, and then instead of Bill Murray, it was supposed to be Chevy
Beverly
Chase.
Hills Cop.
It was supposed to be who instead of Bill Murray?
Chevy Chase.
I'm glad we dodged that bullet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I love Chevy Chase, but yeah,
Me too.
Yeah,
I heard he was hard to work with.
And then Eddie Murphy, he must have been busy with Beverly Hills Cop 3 or
I think it was one of the Beverly Hills Cops. I want to say.
Yeah.
So.
More questions?
That's like, to me, that's like random side. I feel like everybody here probably already knows, but who originally was going to be the voice of Shrek instead of Mike Myers?
No.
You guys don't know that?
No.
Chris Farley. Chris Farley.
I looked at
that. But see, and this is what is if you look up on YouTube, do your guys self a favor, they actually recorded his vocal parts for it as like a screening thing. And so you can actually hear, there's YouTube videos of him reading through, but because you're so used to knowing that it's Michael Myers, it just sounds so wrong. Yeah. And he doesn't have the Scottish accent because Michael Myers he just decided to do that. Yeah. And it literally just sounds like Chris Farley reading
as Shrek.
As Shrek. That's it.
Well, it's Michael J. Fox wasn't Michael J. Fox. They tried to get him to play Back to the Future, and then someone else played him, and they ended up getting Michael J. Fox to play Marty McFly.
Oh, I couldn't imagine anybody. Wow.
Oh my God! It's like it's this mind. Like it just yeah. Any more questions, Will?
I'll ask some more questions in a second. I'm just going to get caught up on comments real quick. Johnny said I got to chat with Bulk and Skull that year. They were at the con. Pretty cool guys. Bulk and Skull were hilarious. I think Jay and I actually had played a set Friday night for the Friday Night Live at the Down Under Club at Seasons. And after our set, Bulk and Skull actually came up to us. They were at the after party. And we're just, got to hang out with them a little bit outside of the con. That was actually, I think, my first interaction with them, because that Friday night, usually at Prior, I was off-site over at Seasons getting everything set up. So I usually don't even see any of the guests until Saturday. So it was a cool little experience with that. Sarah said our kids love the con. Let's see, George kind of answering in with the trivia stuff there. He got it right. Eddie Murphy, and one of the Blues Brothers was also supposed to. It was either going to be them or Chevy Chase who was took Bill Murray's role. So
it is a good show on Netflix, by the way. The Movies That Made Us. Yes. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. That's an excellent show about. They did the Home Alone and they did Ghostbusters, Die Hard. A lot of cool trivia I learned in that. A lot of the cool facts that you didn't know about the movie that were really interesting to learn.
My favorite movies are the movies that are about movies. So, like Hail Caesar and, Fellini and, all that stuff.
The disaster movie?
Yeah. For real, the movies that made us, I just love watching the process.
Yes.
Behind the scenes, from people that actually lived it. It's really interesting.
George has a question. Does anybody know who was supposed to play Neo in The Matrix instead of Keanu?
Yes. Hold on. That's right. Nicolas Cage.
Oh, no.
It wouldn't surprise me if he tried getting the role.
Answer?
It's my real answer, but I don't think it's it. It's someone else. I just saw this the other day.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Tom Cruise.
It's Tom Cruise. It is Tom. It actually is Tom Cruise, I think.
Oh, no.
I saw it somewhere. I forget where it was. There was a post that 22 people didn't know were supposed to play other roles.
Can you imagine Tom Cruise as Neo?
Oh my god.
Well, they would have had
What's the answer? We're going with
Yes.
Tom Cruise.
They would have had to do recasting because all those characters are too tall.
Then we
And
had
he's
to build
only
him still.
5'2" or something. He's so small. People don't realize it, but I saw a picture of him standing next to Arnold Schwarzenegger from years ago, and it's hilarious because he comes up to his nipples.
Well, and it's what's funny is Arnold Schwarzenegger is 6 feet tall.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. He's not a huge guy, but
yeah.
Oh, hey, it was not Tom Cruise. The correct answer was Will Smith.
Will Smith.
What?
Wow.
What?
Honestly, though, I like Will Smith as an actor so much, I probably would have done it. I like Keanu Reeves, but
Probably the remake will be Jaden, right?
I Was Legend.
After Earth.
After Earth. That's funny. I can't even picture that at all. That's I love Will Smith too, but yeah. Not for me.
Any more questions, Will?
Yeah, so basically I was going to kind of segue into this first before I go into the trivia. So Josh, you guys just wrapped up a Quarantine Cinema Club t-shirt. Event. Tell us a little bit about that.
So 320 Inc., who does a lot of OBC stuff as well, our buddy Seth Hasty hooked us up. It's called the Tip Jar Initiative. Basically what they did was they printed limited edition drop shipped merch, t-shirts for local Maine companies. And then the proceeds go to that company. So supporters of the business could go online, buy the t-shirt. It would be shipped to their house. They only printed that run that was ordered in that month. I haven't gotten my numbers back yet from the, kind of reaction I've gotten online. I'm thinking that we actually did pretty well. So I'm looking forward to that. But it was just a really awesome way for, Maine businesses to help Maine businesses. Justin might be able to tell you a little more about it. But it's, we just did a take on, our logo's red and black, QC, CC, Queen City Cinema Club, crossed out the Queen, put the Quarantine, and made a limited edition, 1 month only sale. And the thing is I tried to advertise on Facebook and Instagram or whatever as much as I could. That was pretty much the only way I have to get it out there. And after the fact, once people started posting their pictures, we got blown up like people want them bad. But it was a one-time thing, so you got to hit the black market, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say keep it that way. Yeah, keep it like
that. We'll do awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that supported us. And it means a lot, that we know things are uncertain and, some people aren't getting any income whatsoever coming in. And for people, even if they are in okay shape, to even think about spending that $25 to help us stay alive for a little bit longer, like, that's just, love is love.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so we usually kind of wrap this up at 10, but I got a few more things I just want to hit up with everybody. So prior to all of this happening, Cinema Club was like a second home for me and many people, and I kind of started helping do trivia's Thursday night for Josh. So one of the things I kind of want to start rolling out to try to, again, add to the stream and provide a distraction is doing some trivia, and we're going to start doing giveaways for people that are watching. So person who gets the most answers correct, you'll either get a Cinema Club gift card that I'll be grabbing, or you'll get a t-shirt and a print from the con. We'll figure out other cool things. But so yeah, we're going to figure no time is better to roll out the trivia than tonight having Josh here with us. So
quick plug, Thursday nights when we're back open, we'll be back at trivia. I got a whole box full of trophies. I bought season 1 through 4 like literally 2 weeks before the whole thing went down, so I have enough trophies for 4 quarters of trivia. and they're all marked 2020, so our seasons are going to have to get a little shorter. But.
Oh yeah, well we'll make it work. So yeah, basically gonna kind of just going off the whole quarantine thing. We're gonna be doing quarantine karaoke, or not karaoke. Geez, sorry, another little plug there for that. Quarantine trivia. And obviously you guys that are on the feed can answer as well. And then those who are watching, like I said, here's your chance to try to win some prizes. So we're gonna start it off with a movie quote. What quote is this movie? What movie is this quote from? I once saw him kill 3 men in a bar with a pencil. A fucking pencil.
Oh, man.
I have a guess, but I don't know if I should give the guess.
Let's wait till some people say
something.
Let's
wait for a comment. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll see if we'll kind of, since it's kind of delayed, we'll see if we get any comments in first, and then.
Right. I can say as a bonus question, which one of these questions do I actually know the answer to? There is only one.
So one?
I was like, wow, there's only one of these I know.
So again, the quote is, I once saw him kill
George
in a bar
George has a good answer there. I don't know.
With a pencil, with a fucking pencil. George has got an answer in.
That answer looks right.
Josh, what was your guess?
My guess changed about 2 seconds after I said I have a guess. All I can ever think about when people say, getting killed with a pencil, it's like high school or whatever. So, you're an adolescent boy and Joe Pesci is stabbing people in the neck with a pencil. And so that became known as being peshified, so you petrify people. So my immediate thought was Goodfellas, but then I realized he really only stabbed one guy in the neck with a pencil. So
right.
Yeah, George is right. The movie is John Wick. It's one of the many legends of John Wick. And after the son steals John Wick's car and kills his dog, the father explains to him, you don't realize who you just messed with. And this is one of the things we've seen him do. What else do we got? I got a few more. There's a Marvel one, so I kind of want to wait for Justin on that one.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, he's there. All right. So this might be... I'm not going to say... what actor has appeared in the most Marvel movies?
Oh.
We'll see if any of the comments...
Are we talking like original Fantastic Four, from like the 80s?
Because that would be Chris... I mean, obviously that's Chris Evans, but I would say Scarlett Johansson.
Stan Lee.
Stan Lee is.
That's a trick question at that point.
I think Stan Lee is number 1. I'm gonna go.
I think it's Scarlett Johansson.
Robert Downey Jr. number 2 and Sam Jackson number 3.
Ooh, Sam Jackson. That's a good answer.
That's a good answer, but he wasn't in. Chris Evans was in the Fantastic Four plus a bunch of Marvel MCU movies.
So
I would say
the correct answer is Stan Lee.
It's Stan Lee, yeah, there you go.
And then second is a tie between Chris Evans and Samuel L. Jackson.
Okay, it's Chris Evans. Yeah, you see, yeah.
I would have thought
That's
Robert
good.
Downey Jr. over Chris Evans, but I guess that makes sense.
Chris, there's 3 Captain America. Yeah. Well, there's also 3 Iron Man.
And he showed up in Thor too, right?
But
I was going to say, well, there's Civil War, but that's still got Iron Man and Captain America.
well, if you've seen 2 Fantastic Four movies, Chris Evans is in 2 Fantastic Four movies.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Stan Lee is definitely an actor, though. I mean, he has acted in way more shit than he has.
Right. Yeah. So it's definitely that's why I didn't want to say it was a trick question because I would have given it away. But yes, it's Stan Lee was number 1.
You just not known.
I think one of my favorite roles for Stan Lee in a Marvel movie is Into the Spider-Verse when he's in the shop selling the suit to Miles Morales. It's freaking amazing.
They always fit eventually. No refunds. Yeah.
All right.
Actually, my favorite cameo, I got to say real quick, is, I'm sorry to say, but Simpsons. When Stan Lee came into the comic book shop and he grabs the DC toys. He grabs the Batmobile and he's trying to cram the thing into it, and he breaks it, and he's like, Stan Lee broke my Batmobile. And Stan Lee's like, broke it or made it better?
Better.
All right. Question number 3. What was, going back to Ghostbusters, this is the trivia question that I went with instead. What was going to be the original name for Ghostbusters?
I know this from that show, too. The original name for Ghostbusters.
Oh, man. Paranormal Activity.
No, honestly, it's something stupid.
It is very stupid, yes.
It's very stupid.
Spirit Chasers.
No, it's nothing like that.
Ghost Chasers.
Ghost Whisperer.
For Ghostbusters.
I will say the word ghost is still part of it, yes.
It's Ghost
Smashers.
Ghost Fighters.
Yeah.
Yes, George is right. 100% right. It's Ghost Breakers.
George is incorrect.
George is on it.
Oh, is he incorrect? Really?
Yeah, somebody said Ghost Smashers. That is correct.
I said Ghost Smashers.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, Ghost
I was
Smashers.
Smashers.
Another bullet that got dodged.
Right.
Sweet.
So, of the 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who was the oldest?
Oh, damn.
You have a 25% chance of getting this right.
Well, you want to say Leo,
Raphael.
but it seems like too much of an obvious answer.
Donatello. I'm going to say it right now. Donatello.
So we've got
It's
one
definitely
Donatello,
not
we've got one Raph.
It's definitely not Mikey. Because
Definitely not Mikey.
That would be the best.
It's
I
either
gotta-
Raph or Donnie.
Yeah, I gotta go Raph.
Is there any plug here for Ben Bishop being on? Is that the whole role in here?
I might ask him that one. Johnny, yeah, it is. Leonardo is the oldest of the 4 turtles.
Leonardo, wow.
That's what I assumed, but I just figured that was too obvious.
I would have thought Donatello being like the wisest of the 4.
Yes.
Right.
So
I love how
they've.
Real quick, Will, I'd like to just say I love how they've turned Donnie into the what do you call it? He's the guy that makes sure all the facts are accurate now as far as like the 4th wall. If somebody calls it slime, he's the one that corrects you that it's ooze.
So right now we've got Johnny and George both tied. Next question. This is kind of a plug for one of the guests we've got for the con. What superhero did Jonathan Frakes play while doing appearances for Stan Lee.
Wait, what kind of appearances?
So Stan Lee had hired Jonathan Frakes to go to different comic shops for a release of a comic dressed up as a superhero.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Do we know what superhero he was dressed up as?
Spider-Man.
Oh, it's going to be one of his iconic characters, I assume, right? It's either Spider-Man.
Well, I mean, he did have POW Entertainment, so.
One of the. It's
Ooh, that's
like
a good. Johnny's got a good answer there. I think
Spider-Man,
he might be right.
Captain America.
Man.
What'd you say?
Man thing.
Man thing. I
Spider-Gwen.
don't know if that's Stan Lee, but I'm
I'm just
talk
saying
about Man thing just because he's got it there on his wall, and I love it. I've got a couple issues myself. But anyways.
I'm going to throw out, just for the hell of it, Reed Richards.
Reed Richards. That's.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
That's the first appearance of Howard the Duck.
Yeah. So Johnny got in just before George, and he is correct. It is Captain America.
Captain America. That's a good one.
Yeah, so I think, if I remember it right, he was saying that he got around like $150 an appearance. And back then, before he was like doing a lot of movies, that was one of his first gigs. So to him, that was great money to be able to, get paid to fly around and go to different comic shops and.
Yeah, definitely.
See if I've got it right.
I do that. Just throwing that out there. Anybody that has any ties, you need some guy to dress up in a silly outfit, and as long as there's money involved, Justin will do it.
So he goes,
Money your beer, man. Money your beer.
Jonathan Frakes said, "I worked for Marvel Comics in New York in 1975 or 76. A friend of mine was working as Spider-Man, and Stan asked him if he had a buddy who could come in and be Captain America, and he recommended me. So I got the gig. We have to go to the Marvel offices, sign out a skin-tight spandex costume. They would give us a plane ticket to somewhere like Omaha, Nebraska, and we go to open a comic book store in full costume. It was a whirlwind. We do a couple comic shops, or 6 or 8 7-Elevens, and then fly back home to New York."
That's amazing.
Wow.
That's awesome. The things you learn.
All right, so this one's Jay knows. So, what 2 Star Wars cast members have had roles in the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back film?
If I know it, do you want me to say it, or do you want me to wait a second?
Well, wait a
second,
minute.
just for the lag.
There's a lag.
So they give those who are watching a chance to.
This is the only one that he sent me that I knew out of all of them.
I was about to say, like,
Obviously, Star Wars, you'd get it.
Well, yeah, it's like Star
I didn't
Wars,
even have
Jay
to
and
think
Silent
about
Bob.
it.
Like,
Yeah, it's mixed.
one of them is one of my favorite cameo appearances of all time, though.
Oh, absolutely. If it's the one I'm thinking of.
The one in the car.
Yes.
yeah. I was gonna say either one of them had very unique.
Johnny's got an answer. Right?
Johnny does have an answer, and Jay, I'm going to let you and Jimmy reveal this one.
Yeah, you're totally right. Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher. Those are the 2 that I was thinking of.
The unwritten
Yeah,
mark
Mark
in the
Hamill and
road.
Carrie Fisher.
Dude,
Jay tries to go down on Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill. I can't remember. Is he Cockknocker?
He is Cockknocker.
Yes.
Yep.
He is Cockknocker.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then I was trying to think like, oh yeah, he gets his hand cut off in the movie too, and he's like, not again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that part.
It's
that
amazing.
whole part
All
where
the
they're
connection of that.
That whole part where they're hitchhiking, though, and it goes from them talking to George Carlin to being in a car with Carrie Fisher. That's such a transition.
Right.
Think about, though, with both those people you just talked about, Jay and Silent Bob were in a movie where George Carlin wanted to blow them, and they tried to go down on Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. That's the oral history of Jay and Silent Bob.
Oh.
two of the most iconic people in the world. That was their interaction in a movie with Jay and Kevin.
Or just to think that like, you could get those
and people give
into
Kevin
this
the
film and
shit
do
for the
those
movies he
roles,
makes.
like,
He makes amazing movies.
Right.
all right, I got one more, so it looks like Johnny is now in the lead. Or I think Johnny's up 3-1, so looks like
Let's go, Johnny.
win this episode, but we'll do one more for the hell of it.
I thought George
Star Wars
crushed
one.
it. He only got one?
Yeah, George got John Wick. Oh wait, no, George's got 2. Oh wait, no.
He got the Ernie Hudson one, didn't he?
No, that wasn't. John Wick. He got Stan. No, he's got 2. So he's got Stanley. So 3-2.
Oh, okay.
Let's
All right.
Yeah, so it's 3-2. So
Johnny, you can put it
tie
away here, but
I mean, Johnny can win it here, or George can tie it, and I'll have to come up with I'll let Josh do a random trivia question if it ends up in a tie.
Tiebreaker.
It's gonna be obscure as hell.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
dilemma?
I'm like, if anything, Josh will come up with something good. So, in Star Wars, what odds does C-3PO give Han Solo for successfully navigating the asteroid field?
I got nothing, man.
I got. It's like 10 million to 1 or something like that. It's crazy.
it's got way more
never give me
numbers.
the odds.
So, like 10,730,000.
Yes, something like that.
Something like that. Like it's so precise.
Is it closest without going over? Is that what you're doing there,
Yeah, I'll do
Will?
closest without going over.
I like
guaranteed
this.
to probably get half of it right. So
The trivia part of this is actually really fun. This is the first time we've first done it. And we definitely
You should do it again. Yeah, this is cool.
for sure.
Makes all of us guests look like idiots, but that's cool.
what's funny? Like I sent it to Jay this
We've
morning. I was
already
like, so
done it
is
for
this
2 hours.
like? Do you think these are going to be too easy or too hard? And Jay's like, well, I only know one of them, so.
So,
I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll send him to Josh. And
You
then
know,
I was just like,
what I've
George
realized
was
though
the
is
first
that
one to hit
I
up
have,
Google.
I've always prided myself on my pop culture knowledge, but now I'm realizing that I'm like my CD binder that's in my garage, just like at a standstill. You know, and everything that's in that I could tell you about and everything and feel like I know music. But you ask me anything outside that binder, I don't know anything.
that's crazy. George and Johnny answered the same answer.
they did, and they were both correct. So George got it, which makes it a tiebreaker. So, Josh, I'm going to put you on the spot if you want to.
No, I know it. Can I ask a question? When did Josh open his store or his place? What date did Josh open Queen City Cinema Club? I know the answer.
I can
know
verify.
it's
Josh, like, I can verify. Fact check that.
I would even take. I don't even need like a year or whatever. Just like it's kind of a special kind of day. So
a special day.
yeah.
Do you know?
All right, so the question is, what day did Queen City Cinema Club open its doors?
Who can Google it faster?
Search my Instagram. I probably would post a picture of it.
I don't know. My question was going to be if you could name the 2 stormtroopers that have the conversation at the beginning of the last episode of The Mandalorian. Who are the 2 actors in the suits?
There you go. That's a good one too. Either answer.
Since we brought it up earlier in the episode. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could answer that for you. George, Johnny, 2018, George says. And Johnny says, I have no idea.
So 2018 is correct. It was Friday the 13th, July 13th.
13.
I was saying,
It was a
some of you
Friday.
may have the,
Who was the 2
anniversary
stormtroopers?
shirt.
Does anybody know the 2
That one out.
stormtroopers?
I do not.
I know.
They
One
stayed
of
in the
them, one of them
episode?
was from Saturday Night Live, or was on Saturday Night Live, right?
I'm my phone's dead, so I'm gonna have to have somebody Google it to like confirm for me. I was under the understanding that Taika Waititi was in one of those suits,
I have to Google it. I'll do it.
and then the dude
Anybody on it?
the dude with the Rottweiler from Half Baked.
Oh my god, no way. Who's looking it up? Justin, you looking it up?
Well, it says Jason Sudeikis.
Oh, really?
Oh, no way.
It's one of them. At least. I can't.
I probably should have asked a question I knew the answer to.
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis and Adam Pally.
Okay.
Happy endings and
I was totally wrong.
We got an answer from George.
Jason Sudeikis, I knew was right. Do we have an answer?
2017.
Johnny got Jason Sudeikis and Adam Paul. Yeah.
There you go. He wins then.
Would anybody make me recognize who Adam Pally is?
I have no idea who that is. Jason Sudeikis, I do know. If you watch it again, watch the episode again, watch that scene again, you'll hear his voice in that episode.
It's very familiar when I was listening to it, but I couldn't quite place it.
Yeah, I'm sure the second now that I hear it, I think that, because I just watched the Willoughbys just came out on Netflix, and any animated movie I'm pretty much watching with my kid at this point. And there was one voice in there that I'm just like, man, does that sound like Martin Short? And then, like, at the end, it said Martin Short, and I just was like, he still got it, man. I love Martin Short so much, and his voice is, like, his attitude and everything is so good. But, yeah, it's like the same kind of deal. You hear it, and you're like, oh, that's, like, hitting me right here, and I cannot think of who it is. Yeah. That's the same with all of those. I've heard there's a ton of different cameos that are as stormtroopers in all those.
Well, basically, since the beginning of the new Star Wars movie, since the third trilogy, like Kevin Smith was a stormtrooper at some point, and so many people, which is awesome because it's like giving fans who are in Hollywood a chance to be in a movie they grew up with. It's amazing.
Well, just to be able to, to be part of the iconic history, just to be able to say you're part of it. I heard, does Simon Pegg do a stormtrooper, or is he that the guy that buys junk and whatever from wow, I'm drawing a blank.
I think most of them were stormtroopers, but
somebody.
Yeah,
he was in the movie. Yeah.
Simon Pegg. Well, thank you for that, guys. Like, really.
Well, hey, we're at 10:30, so last little plugs here. Josh, if people want to get more info on Cinema Club, what is the best way to do so?
Just as usual, best way to keep up with everything is on our Facebook and Instagram, Queen City Cinema Club. Website is queencitycinemaclub.com. I'm probably going to start working on redoing that sometime in the next couple weeks and updating that with all new information. So we got a lot of big changes, a lot of exciting things, and I'm excited to get going again. But yeah.
Awesome.
And Jimmy, for you, if anybody wants to get any books or get a hold of you, what is the best way to do so?
Right now, it's just basically my Facebook page. I don't have a website yet. That's something that I have coming. That's kind of in the works. But yeah, I did a Kickstarter for my new project, and since then, I've just been focusing on trying to get Aberrations and Apparitions out, and that's where a lot of my focus has been for as far as that goes. But yeah, if you type in James Graham in the search of Facebook, you'll find me. It's facebook.com/writings by James Graham.
Awesome.
Well,
thank you guys so much for joining in. I guess the last few things that I've got for us here is we've posted a photo on Mother's Day, but last Saturday we announced our next big guest for this. On May 27th, we're going to have co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kevin Eastman, joined by Portland's own Ben Bishop and Canadian Troy Little. For a joint Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Drawing Blood, The Aggregate, Ragdolls, you name it. It's going to be a great time, so make sure to join in for that. And then this Saturday, Jay and I are going to be hosting a gaming-themed episode. We're super excited. Just got confirmation today, or this evening, that we're going to have We're going to have Dave, one of the owners of Winter House Gaming. Our buddy Sean French works with Mortimer on Escape from Jesus Island, but has also really stepped into his own as far as gaming goes and created Epic Tavern and is working on Murder on the Medway. And he's got his mentor, and I'm probably going to butcher the name again, Tomo Moriwaki, I'm going to assume, who is the lead designer on Spider-Man video games, has done stuff, lead designer for Call of Duty, Medal of Honor, and a ton of others. So we're very excited to have them joining us this Saturday at 8 p.m. So make sure you guys tune in. And again, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Wow.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Love you, Jay.
Love you guys.
Do I click the red button now?
Yeah, you're good.